Hello and good morning. I hope that you're having an awesome day today. I wanted to come on here and kind of share with you the look that I'm really gravitating towards that I've been using to pan several of my palettes for Pan That Palette, Pan Those Eyeshadows Challenge. So today I'm going to be working with the Anastasia Triochrome palette, my MAC Warm Neutrals palette, as well as the Lorac Soleil palette, just to kind of give you a heads up on things you might pull from your collection. But honestly, this look is a really pretty bronzy, smoky eye. It is very achievable with multiple palettes in your collection. In fact, the original shadows that I used when I wore this look came out of my Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. So if you're working with that, in particular, it was the shade Adorn, that beautiful bronzy shade. Roxy, the coral shade that's in the second row, Fudge to get a matte brown, and also going through with Dawn as a transition shade. And then you can really play up your liners if you want to go with a smoky plum, or if you want to go with a brown, or if you want to go with black, even a navy color. It's just super, super easy. And honestly, the other palette that I was kind of thinking about that really kind of gets me wanting to wear this look over and over is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette, because of those warm browns mixed with the pops of like cooler tone shades, and then having that coral in the corner of that palette as well. It's just a gorgeous combination. So like I said, you know, you can find these combos in a lot of your palettes. I'm thinking Lorac Pro palette. I'm thinking Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly. Like especially if you pair a purple liner on your lower lash line, it's very reminiscent of that palette, or any of your neutral palettes. So, all right, the first thing that I did is I went on and I primed my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. But the first shade I'm gonna go through is with the Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. I'm actually gonna use this Gourmand shade that's in the bottom. All I'm doing is I'm going through with a fluffy crease brush. This happens to be from Morphe, but take your favorite option from your makeup collection, and I'm just running this through my crease area. This is not an obligatory step. I know a lot of people like to go in and do like a cut winged look, and they go in with their deepest shades. The reason I do a transition shade is because it helps to minimize the hood of my eyes a little bit. As you can see, like when I open my eyes, I don't have a lot of visible lid space, so it makes it a little bit more defined as I put shimmery shades on my lid, or if I want to go smokier in the crease, and that way it doesn't just look like I punched myself in the face, you know what I mean? So, but basically with this shade, you're going through with a warm brown from your collection. This shade from the Natasha Denona palette happens to be a little bit rosier. It has a little bit more pink to it, so it's not quite like a warm brown. But if I were going through with my MAC Warm Neutrals palette, Saddle over here is a brilliant choice. I would also go through like with the Lorac Soleil palette, any of the matte warm browns on the side of the palette, or if you have the Lorac Pro palette, and basically anything. MAC Warm Brown is another one that I constantly reach for. And I do layer this color up a little bit. All right. And the next thing that we're going to do, this is not an obligatory step. I happen to have the Lancome Ombre Hypno Stilo pencil in the shade 27 Bronze. It's just a really easy bronze eyeshadow stick, and basically, since this is all I have left of it, as you can see, I went on and decided to just polish it off as an eyeshadow base. I'm just going through and I'm popping this all over the lid, but you don't have to. I also like just putting a gold on my lid if I want to have an easy eye makeup day, but I'm keeping it real. Like, I just want to use this pencil up, but it is a really nice formula. Very, very, very pretty. I liked the way that it had an effect under Adorn from the Subculture palette, because it really just made that shadow pop like in amazing, amazing ways for my eyes. I'm going through with this gold shadow from my MAC Warm Neutrals palette, but you can pick any gold basically from your collection. My suggestion would be to go with something that is a little bit darker, not necessarily going with a lighter gold like something like this or like this. Like, go with a stronger gold, or if you have the Lorac Soleil palette, this is kind of the vibe I'm thinking of. These really, really warm golds over here. Or if you have other gold shadows in your collection. Basically, I'm going through with an e.l.f. C brush. It's a flat shader brush. And I'm just stamping this onto my lid on top of that Lancome pencil. As you can see, I feel like it makes it a little bit more intense, but it's not crazy. And just tap, tap, tap. And also too, honestly, like having a shadow pencil base for me, you have to be careful with it because I mean, it can make your eyes look a little bit crepey if you're not careful. But I have noticed that for my hooded eyes, especially when you have shadows that tend to be a little bit more high maintenance, having that sticky base there is a little bit easier for me to wear those shadows because they're not constantly going up into my crease area where it looks awkward and I have like shimmer and glitter and craziness several hours after I apply my makeup. So I'm not wearing cream shadows as often anymore because I am noticing little fine lines and crepiness and things like that, just all the part of the joys of getting older. But I do still enjoy some cream products, and I just tend to be a little bit lighter handed with them so that they're not quite as intense on the face. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go through, kind of look for a creamy white, glowy highlighting shade in your collection. If you're using the MAC Warm Neutrals palette, this cream shade over here is gorgeous. I have personally been working on the Lorac Soleil palette, the matte kind of a creamy shade in the top left corner of this palette. I'm also thinking about cream from the Lorac, pretty much any of the Lorac Mega Pro palettes or the Pro palette. Or I've also tried, I wanted something a little bit more stark white, but you could go through with Vertex from the Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. That would be another beautiful option. Or if you have just a basic, like, what is that? Wet n Wild Brulee in your collection, that would be another beautiful way to just kind of give yourself a subtle highlight that's not intense, but it gives a brightness to your eyes. So basically I'm going through with the Wet n Wild eyeshadow brush, and I'm just kind of stamping and blending this into my inner corner and on my brow bone, because I want something that is subtle, pretty, but it just kind of helps blend everything out. And sometimes I'll go back through and I'll just touch it up, touch it up a little bit. I had a lot of coffee this morning, and after working out, I've noticed that I tend to get more hiccups when I have that combination. Weird, right? I don't know. So how have you been? I know things have been really intense around here the last couple of weeks. We've had snowvid with Texas, and that's been a whole thing. And also kind of on a sad note of why it's been so long since I filmed some videos is because it's been a hard month. In October, my family and I, we had to make the choice to put down our Labrador Retriever. And so it's been an adjustment of dealing with that because we had him for 15 years. And so it was a huge chapter. And then after the whole snowvid thing, our other dog, who made it to 16 years old, really took a turn for the worse, and we had to make the decision to put her down. And so it's been a lot of adjustment. I mean, obviously we knew it was coming. Like we had more than we could have ever asked for, and love and life from our dogs, but it was still hard, you know what I mean? So there's that. Well, in snowvid, we didn't have any burst pipes or anything, but we did have to have some work done, and we also found out through that whole process that we need to replace our windows, so that's a little bit of a stab to the jugular in terms of like, big things to have to like replace and cost, and owning a home is a whole like, we put so much money into this house. Like on one hand, we constantly have the discussion of like, have we done enough? Like, is it time to sell? And at the same time, we're like, no, we don't want to move. Like, let's just fix the house and make it the way we want. But man, that was tough to get that little blip, you know, to realize like our seals weren't working as well on our windows, and now it's time to replace them. And it's just kind of like, man, Couldn't we have waited just a tad longer? So anyways, let's go on to the crease work. So for my crease today, I'm actually going through with this kind of a fudge brown shade that's in the bottom of the Lorac Soleil palette. I have also gone through, if you want something a little bit more shimmery because you can knock off the shimmer when you tap off your brush, go through with this beautiful matte brown shade from the, it's not matte, what am I kidding? It's a shimmery brown from the MAC Warm Neutrals palette right here, but you can knock off the shimmer before you apply it to your eyes, and it gives like a really pretty kind of a fudge brown, very, very similar to the fudge brown that came out of the Subculture palette. The other option that I have is I would go through with, this came out of the Too Faced Peachy Matte palette, I believe, and it is the shade called Peach Tart. This is also another option that I kind of keep in the background to just run through my crease, and then I use an espresso brown to really kind of make it smoky. Going through with another fluffy crease brush. This one happens to be from Morphe. It's the M441, and I'm gonna actually go through with the, let's use the Lorac Soleil palette today. I tap off the brush because the kickback is a little intense with this shade, and I'm basically going through and I do a little bit onto my lid, kind of to make a little bit of a V shape to give a cat eye effect without being too intentional with it. And then I just blend it up into my crease. I really hope that the lighting is not so crazy bright that this is hard to see. I apologize if it is. I do need to have some more practice with doing this style of video to make more get ready with me's in this way. So it's all trial and error, right? And I appreciate you sticking it out with me and being patient through the whole thing. It's always a learning curve, isn't it? So there's the other side. The shadow is really smooth and buttery. It's just, there's a lot of kickback. A lot of kickback. So there we go. And technically, I mean, if you want, you could leave it like this. I like to have a little bit more intensity because once I put my glasses on, it kind of makes the shadows look really muddy together if I'm not careful. So I like to put a little bit more definition, but you don't have to. You really don't. But I go through, blend that out a little bit because it's looking kind of globby to me in the mirror from what I can see. Keep in mind, I'm nearsighted, but I'll look about even. Nearsighted problems for sure. All right, but in any case, I like to go through with just a matte black, matte brown, try that again, Amber, a matte brown shadow. And like, if I'm using my MAC Warm Neutrals palette, this Deep Espresso over here, anything that you probably already have in your collection, they're just super easy. I am going through, since I've been working on this Maybelline shadow in Made for Mocha, I use this with a, I guess we'll call it a domed crease brush from Real Techniques. It comes in an eyeshadow set that you can pick up at Target, but it looks like this. It has a series of purple brushes. And basically I just stamp this into my outer corner to really give me a little bit more definition and give that cat eye effect. See, just like that. That's all I did. Easy, easy, easy. And also it helps kind of tie in when I do my eyeliner because otherwise my eyeliner can look like it swallows my whole eye. I know that doesn't make any sense right now, but you'll see once I do it. So there we go. Eyes are pretty much done with the exception that I want to go through with a corally type shade. So where I would have gone with the Subculture palette is use the shade Roxy, and a lot of times I would mix it with a like bubblegum pink just to give it a little bit more of a warmer effect instead of being like orange, since that shadow is kind of orange. If you have the Too Faced Peachy Matte palette, I would go through with the shade Peach Punch. It's a little bit more of a bright coral. Kind of reminds me of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. Just for that kind of vibe, you can also use that shade. This, I think, is pretty on point with what I like to have, and it's actually what I wore back in February. Today, I'm going to show you with the Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. I'm going through with the shade Diatonic, and this is where I first noticed that where's Diatonic? This beautiful shade down here. It doesn't look as intense on camera as it does in person, but it is kind of a peachy coral. This is the first time that I noticed like this particular palette of shadows, there's a little bit more fading during the day, because I will go back through several hours after doing my makeup and I will notice that Diatonic is definitely not sticking around like the rest of the shadows. So I thought that was worth mentioning if you are interested in hearing my thoughts on some of these Natasha Denona shadows. It's not like they don't have as much staying power from this palette as I've noticed from some of her other palettes, like the Metropolis palette or the, what is the cooler tone palette that she just released? You know what I mean? It has like the taupe packaging. But in any case, like for the sake of this Get Ready With Me, what I like to do is I like to run this in my crease just to give me a little bit more warmth to kind of blend everything together. And then I just go through and clean up any fallout that might have happened. And sometimes I'll go through with the crease brush that had that fudge shade and just kind of touch everything up, make sure everything's nicely blended. And there we go. Okay. Next, I'm going through basically with an espresso liner. My favorite to use is MAC Costa Riche, but right now I'm trying to finish off this CoverGirl Ink It liner in the shade 260 or Cocoa Ink. It's a little bit more of a lighter espresso brown, but it still has an intense effect on my eyes, so we're just going with it, using it till it's gone so I can move something else out of my collection. But basically, I'm not doing anything crazy. I pull my eye a little bit just because it's hooded. But basically, I'm just going through and lining my eyes. And because this particular formula tends to move, it travels on my eyes, I don't think it'd be a problem for people that do not have hooded eyes, because it is a fairly sturdy formula. But I notice on me, especially if it's humid, I notice that it travels kind of up into my eye makeup. I go on and I set it with the espresso shadow, so I'm going back through with Maybelline Made for Mocha on a stiff eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to go through and set this so that I don't have to worry about it ruining my eye makeup for the rest of the day. Easy, easy, easy. Now you could also go through, this is a really great opportunity if you want to be a little bit more bold with your eyeliner choices. I also like to go through and use deep plums. So going through like with the shade Rowdy from your Subculture palette, or the shade Axis to get a really deep teal, or to do a bold navy. The eyeshadow in general is very, very neutral, so it gives you a lot of opportunity to play around with different liners and things. And also that's a tip that I kind of go for of how I'm able to pan palettes the way that I do, because I tend to go with more neutral looks that I can zhuzh up with other things. And that way I'm wearing the same makeup consistently, but you change little products here and there, like maybe you change the blending out shade, maybe you change the highlighting shade, maybe you change the liner shade, so you get a completely different feel, but you're still using the exact same shadows. I hope that makes sense. So today I'm keeping it super neutral just because that's what I want to do, but I really use this as an opportunity to go through and I'll wear plums, I'll wear teals, I'll wear navies, I'll wear black if I want something really smoky and intensified. Sometimes I'll go through with other shades, like I'll use greens on my lower lash line, because to me this is a seasonless look that I can wear literally. I mean, in the fall is when I kind of gravitate toward the greens, or Christmas time, or like St. Patrick's Day. Navy is an all year thing, because especially if you have brown eyes, it really makes the brown in your eyes pop. Purple is the same way. And you can go brighter with your purple. You can go more plum. I've used the Natasha Denona Triochrome palette with this purple in particular. I've gone through with this more kind of a pinky purple and used this on my lower lash line. It's absolutely gorgeous. So like I said, have fun with this look, and you can really get creative trying out different things in your makeup collection, and then find something that is easy. You don't have to think about it. You can wear it every day, but again, give it a different feel so that way you know, get inspired to be creative, or you get that momentum of feeling like you're changing up your makeup enough, but you're still getting that progress on your products. So anyways, I'm going to go through, I hope this isn't too weird on camera, but I'm going to line my lower lash line with a nude pencil. This one happens to be the NYX Wonder Pencil in the shade Light. And I'm wondering, I have not seen these in a long time. So I'm wondering if NYX has discontinued these. Any thoughts? Like, let me know in the comments below, because I've honestly looked like at Target and CVS and Walgreens, like anywhere we can find NYX, Ulta, and I haven't seen these pencils. So I'm wondering if NYX has decided to kind of move along with them. So when I was thinking about like what to kind of look for as I restock things, or like as I use up stuff, nude pencils, let me know your recommendations for other nude pencils from other brands, because I've used NYX a very long time, so I'm not really familiar with other brands. So let me know what your favorites are that don't, you know, cause any type of eye irritation, or for sensitive eyes and things like that. I really am interested to hear a nude pencil recommendation for my waterline, because this is absolutely a staple for me to make my eyes look bigger and brighter and not so hooded. So, all right, then for my lower lash line, I'm gonna just go through and use some more of this CoverGirl pencil and just line about halfway across, because if I line my eyes all the way across, it tends to close them in and make them look smaller. And so what I want to do is line them about halfway. And then with this shape, once I put my glasses on, it really gives me more of a bigger, bright-eyed, but cat-eyed effect. Does that make sense? So there we go. And just so that eyeliner doesn't move around during the day, because it is humid, quite humid today, going through, actually, no, I'm not gonna set it with that shadow. What am I doing? I'm gonna go through with that fudge shade from Lorac Soleil, just so it's not quite as dark as my upper lash line. That way there's a little bit more definition there. Knock off the excess. And then I'm gonna go through. So much kick up on my shadow. I love it, but my goodness. Fortunately, it is still like, it's taking me a while to make progress with it, so I don't feel like it's all being wasted, but certainly something worth noting. All right. And the obligatory awkward facial expressions as we apply our makeup. All right, now that the eyes are done, let's kind of move on to the face. Keeping it simple with the bronzer, I'm going through with an e.l.f. powder brush. I'm gonna just dust this under the contours of my face. And just kind of swirl it. I don't go super heavy with bronzer, just because it can get heavy-handed really quickly and it looks really awkward under my glasses. So I just take the excess and kind of run it through my forehead area. I dust both sides of my nose to touch the areas that would be sun-kissed, so it looks a little bit more natural. And I run kind of, you know, like that old school tip where you do the C, so you chisel out your face. I still do that tip. It works. It works quite well. I don't see it as often on Instagram or whatnot, but I'm not going for that super chiseled glam look. This is makeup that, how I wear it every day, how I go about my life. All right, so there we go with bronzer. Then next, the blush that I'm picking from today, I'm actually gonna be wearing MAC's Peaches, because I love, oh, I already brought it out. I love that this has a little bit of pink to it, and as you can see how exciting I hit pan. Big, big fun deal. Took me so long with that Clinique Cola Pop. It's a, you know, very encouraging to see some pan in this one too. So, but basically go through with any blush that you want. You're not limited. So I'm going through with an e.l.f. blush brush, and I'm just applying this to my cheeks. I really like that this shade ties in with that Natasha Denona diatonic shade. They're actually quite similar now that I'm thinking about it. Basically, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't too bright. Is this better if I turn that off? Like I said, this is trial and error. We're figuring things out. Next time it'll be better, I promise. Thank you for sticking with me. I need to get in the habit of filming more Get Ready With Me. So that's really what it is. Can I have like one light on? Is that better? We'll figure this out. Okay, so that's where we are. I'm actually not gonna be doing highlighter because I like this look without a lot of shimmer going on the rest of my face. And I feel like the MAC blush gives me enough of a glow that I'm not really worried about it. But if you want to have a highlighter, you're more than welcome to like try different things out. I do like to wear kind of a more champagne colored highlight if I'm gonna wear one, but like I said, I don't wanna go that glowy. Like I want the focus to be on the eyes and then have a little bit of life brought back to my cheeks, but I don't want it to be super crazy. So that's where we are. I'm actually gonna do my mascara off camera and I'll come back and we'll talk about some lip products. So let's do some lip products. I really like to go for more of a nude lip with this look for an everyday, but it's so versatile. Like that's, it really is. In any case, like you can wear any lip product combo that you want with this. I've worn it with a red lip. I've worn it with burgundy lips. I've worn it with more of a plum colored lip. It's just super, super easy. So today for my nude combo, I'm going with, this is Holy Grail status for me, my MAC Whirl Lip Liner Pencil. I go through these consistently because it's just my favorite formula. I really like the shade of this color. Like when it comes to a mauve, My Lips But Better, I like the description on this I've seen is like a dirty rose color. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dirty rose, but it's super flattering. Okay. And basically what I do, just to make it a little bit more fade resistant, I guess is the appropriate term I'm looking for right now, I like to go on and fill in the corners with lip liner just because I do like to drink a lot of water during the day. Like right now I've got a cup of iced coffee next to me and it just helps the lipstick to wear a little bit more evenly where you don't get that awkward line of demarcation and then nothing in the middle. So just go through and kind of fill in the corners. It doesn't have to be dramatic. And then the lipstick that I've been loving, the whole line of these, I love. The Revlon, the new Super Lustrous Matte line. This shade that I happen to be wearing today is Pick Me Up, and the other shade that I love for just if you want a basic everyday lip color that you don't have to think about is Shameless. Love this lipstick color. So this is Shameless. So I just marked the other tube. It's just an easy, wearable, like, a little bit deeper, My Lips But Better kind of thing, but it works like if you want to do the whole 90s vibe, if you want to do like just a lipstick that you don't have to think about that's going to match with everything. This Pick Me Up shade is a little bit more nude. In fact, it almost reminds me of MAC's Velvet Teddy, if you're familiar with wearing that shade. So this is what we're going for today. I love, love, love this shade. And sometimes it kind of looks more pink than it does other times. It kind of tends to go more nude when I wear it with like the corally blush and this eye look. So I just go over the top. And see, super easy. I'm a huge fan of matte lipstick just because they're a little bit more user-friendly. They don't travel all over the place. I don't have to worry about them really making a mess if my hair accidentally gets caught as I'm putting my mask on, or if I'm walking to and from someplace and I'm, you know, standing out in the wind or whatnot. They're a little bit more durable, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So you can stop the look here. If you want some gloss, the gloss that I reach for is my Chanel Glossomer in the shade 722, or Rouge Cocoa Gloss, not Glossomer, but Rouge Cocoa Gloss in shade 722, or it's called Noche Moscata, I believe. is the formal name. I'm only seeing shade 722, but it's basically an everyday mauve. It matches perfectly with the Shameless Revlon lipstick or this one. So what I do is I just pop it in the center of my lips. I don't like to wear lip gloss over my entire lips. And that way, as I take sips of water or whatnot, I don't have an ooey gooey mess all over my place, or all over the place. So that's about it. I mean, this is my go-to. I love wearing this to run errands. I love wearing this. I amp it up a little bit if we're doing something more formal, but of course right now with, you know, all of the taking more precautions, we're not going out near as often anymore. But this is a look that I literally wear, like I could wear every single day of the year. And in fact, as I kind of look ahead for things that I'm panning, I'm kind of like, do I want to keep this look going and just see how many shadows I can get through in this kind of combo? But it's literally like, it's seasonless, but at the same time you can amp it up and try out different things with it, like, you know, wear a punchier lip color, wear punchier eyeliners and whatnot. So I hope that you have fun trying this out, that you have fun jumping around your collection. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out this video. And I hope that you have fun trying out this look. So until next time, take care. And I look forward to seeing you very soon with a Pan That Palette, Pan Those Eyeshadows update. So until then, take care and I'll see you later. Adios.